The knocking wasn't polite. I was angry, measured, as if whoever was out there knew the sound of his pulse and wanted to match it, beat for beat. He didn't move at first, just stood by the window, hand resting on the edge of the sink, jaw clenched. The forge behind the cabin was dark. The fire in the hearth was nearly out. Only one oil lamp burned, low and bitter smelling. The knocking came again, harder. He stepped to the door and opened it halfway. Rain fell behind her like a curtain. She was soaked through, hair matted, face pale. One hand clenched the rail, the other held a bundle to her chest. She didn't wait. "He's yours." He didn't speak. She pushed the door open farther and walked past him. The scent of wet cloth and road dust filled the room. He shut the door slowly. "That's not... You said you'd never lie again." Her voice was hoarse. Her boots left a trail of mud. She moved straight to the table, pulled out a chair, and sat. The baby stirred, cried once, like a match flaring. "You can't just show up here," he said. "I did. After all this time. 3 years, 4 months. He didn't answer, just stared at the child. The baby looked like him. Too much. That quiet look between cries. That jaw. That nose. A shape he didn't think he'd passed on. "You're lying," he said finally. "No. I would have heard. You stopped listening." He stepped back, shaking his head. "No letter, no word. You disappear, and now you show up with your son. I'm not his father. You were when I left. That's not how it works. It's how it worked for me." The baby fussed again. She rocked slightly, one arm around him, one hand smoothing the blanket. "I don't want this," he muttered. "Doesn't matter. You come here, you say that I said it once. That's all I needed. You can't just drop a baby off like it's a mule I left tied too long." She stood. I walked to the hearth, fed the fire with a log from the basket. The baby cried louder, startled by the snap of a new flame. "You let the fire die," she said. "I didn't know you were coming." She turned. "I didn't light it for me. I don't want this." She looked at the child. "Then why are you shaking?" He crossed his arms. "You want me to believe this is mine? After what you did?" "I didn't do anything." "You ran." "I left." "You lied." "I survived." The fire caught, hissed. Shadows climbed up the wall. "I'm not ready," he said. "You don't get ready. You get real." I never asked for him. I never asked for your permission. Silence settled in. Only the baby's soft sounds filled the room. She sat again, this time near the window. Rain tapped the glass like it was trying to get in too. "What's his name?" "You tell me." "I don't want this." "Then give him back." He didn't move. She opened the blanket. Little fists, tiny chest, eyes shut tight. The baby's breath was shallow and fast. "He doesn't know your lies yet," she said. "That's a gift. I never lied to him. You lied to me." He sat on the edge of the table, arms resting on his knees. "You left," he whispered. "You let me. You took everything. I took nothing but my name. I would have. No, you wouldn't. You never gave me a chance. You had years." He looked at the fire. "He's yours." She stared. "What? You sure he's yours?" She didn't answer, just stood. I walked over, shoved the baby into his arms. "Now ask that again." He didn't. Couldn't. The baby was warm, heavy, small but real. He smelled like soap and something older, road maybe, or grief. I shouldn't have said that. "You did." I was angry. "You're always angry." "I didn't mean it." "You always mean it." He looked down at the child, the weight of him, the quiet thrum of life. "I didn't think you'd come back. I didn't think you'd still be here." "Why now?" "He needs a name. You gave him mine. He needs a place. This ain't it. It was once. Not anymore." The baby squirmed. He shifted to hold him better, like he'd held a hammer, like he'd gripped a horseshoe just out of the fire, not ready to be shaped, but already hot with demand. "He's not mine," he said again, softer. "You keep saying that. Because it's true. Because you need it to be." He didn't respond. She stepped toward the door. Her coat dripped. "I'll sleep on the porch." He blinked. "What?" "You've got a bed. I've got a spine. You're not staying. I already did." I said no. "I didn't ask." She opened the door. Rain hit her face. "I could turn you in," he said. "For what?" "I don't know." Something. You always find something. You think you can just walk in and ruin everything? She didn't turn around. Looks like you ruined it first. The door shut behind her. He stood there, holding the baby. The fire glowed. Rain hit the roof like hooves across dry earth. He didn't move. The baby stirred, eyes fluttering open for just a second. The same eyes he saw in the mirror when he still bothered to look. He whispered to the flame, to himself, to no one. "What the hell am I supposed to do with you?" The baby didn't answer. I only cried. Once. Then it quieted. And the knock didn't come again. She stepped in from the porch at first light. Damp, cold, quiet. Didn't knock this time. Just pushed the door open with her shoulder and walked in like the house still belonged to her. The baby in her arms was swaddled in the same blanket, his small head tucked close to her neck. He stood near the hearth, already dressed, fire going, sleeves rolled. "You said porch," he muttered. "You said no," she replied. "I meant it." "So did I." She crossed the room. He blocked the hall, thinking she might head toward the bedroom. She didn't. She walked straight to the forge table. "Don't." She set the baby down, careful, gentle, like laying a loaf on the counter. "Not there," he said. She adjusted the blanket, didn't look up. "It's flat, warm. That's where I set steel." "Now you set him up." He moved fast, hand on the bundle, pulling the baby toward him. "You don't put a child on iron. It's wood. That top's just scorched." He pointed. "That corner burned last fall. Splinters, oil stains. You're gonna lay your boy in poison?" She met his eyes. "My boy. That's what you called him yesterday." She didn't answer. He lifted the baby, held him like something delicate but confusing. I walked to the chair, sat down. "He's small." She stayed standing. "He's real." "You named him yet?" "No." "You expect me to?" "You think he's not yours." "I know he's not." "Then don't name him. He doesn't need more lies." The baby fussed. Not a cry. Just the beginning of one. He rocked slightly, awkward, unsure. "You think this fixes something?" he asked. "No." "You think you can just, drop a child off and walk back into the past like it still fits?" "No." "Then what is this?" "This is him. He exists." "And that's on me?" She stared hard. "He didn't make himself." "I didn't either." "You made this." "Not alone." "I carried him. I raised him." "Then why are you here?" "Because you should know." "Know what?" "That he breathes." The baby whimpered again. He stood, bounced slightly, rough and clumsy. "You never said goodbye," he muttered. "You never said don't." "I looked for you." "You looked too late." He turned, face tight. "You think I wanted this?" "I think you deserved it." "You think I lied?" "I know you did." "I didn't cheat." "I didn't say cheat." "Then what?" "You promised you'd stay soft." His voice cracked. "I did." "Number you stopped." He looked down at the baby. "I had a forge to keep. I had mouths to feed. I was one of them. You left. I starved first." He held the baby closer. The child's head rested against his chest now, rising and falling with each breath. "You went north," he said. "I went silent. You married someone. I survived someone." He blinked. She nodded. "Gone now." "Dead." "No." "Then, gone." He didn't speak for a moment. The baby gave a soft noise, a burble, then settled again. "I would have raised him," he said. "Then start?" "It's not mine. You're still here." "You can't prove it." "I don't want to." He looked at her. "I didn't come here for a test," she said. "I came to set him down." He stepped toward the table, set the baby back on the wood, softer this time. "He needs food," he said. "There's milk in the pack." He didn't move. "You don't have to want him," she said. "He's not asking." "He will. When he does, tell the truth." "I don't have one." "You used to." He stared at the baby. "He's got your nose. He's got your hands." She walked past him, slow, calm, to the baby's side, adjusted the edge of the blanket, tucked it tighter, smoothed his brow with one finger. "He's always warm," she said. He didn't reply. The baby stirred again, a whimper, a scrunch of the face, then a long, loud cry. Neither moved. "He's hungry," she said. He still didn't move. "Are you deaf?" she snapped. "I don't know what to do." "You've never known." "Then why are you here?" Because you lied better than most. The baby screamed now. The forge table echoed with it. She grabbed the pack, pulled a bottle, shoved it in his hand. Feed him! He fumbled, unscrewing the cap. She stepped in, took the baby, settled him in the crook of her arm, pressed the bottle to his mouth. The cry stopped, just like that. I could have done that, he mumbled, not with shaking hands. He sat again, elbows on knees, watching. The baby sucked softly. His fingers curled, then unclenched. The fire popped once. The rain had stopped, but the roof was still dripping. You're angry, he said. I was. You hate me. I don't. You should. I might. He swallowed. You gonna stay? I don't know. Can I ask? You just did. He nodded. I looked back at the baby. He's loud, he said. He's alive. Where will you sleep? Not on the porch. You want the bed? I want him to have one. He rubbed his face. You said he's mine. He is. I still don't believe you. I know. But I held him. She looked at him. And he didn't answer, just looked down at the floor, at the marks burned into it from old coals, boots, and arguments. The baby finished the bottle, pushed it away. She wiped his mouth with her sleeve. He'll sleep soon. He leaned back, closed his eyes. I don't know how to hold things without hurting them. She stood. Then learn. He opened his eyes. I looked up at her. Or don't, she added, but stop saying it like someone else is to blame. She walked to the back room, didn't ask permission. The door creaked. The crib was still there, dusty, empty, still. He stayed in the chair. Fire glowing low. The baby's cries. Echo faint in his chest. No hammer swung. No steel cooled, just a child on the table, and two people who once swore they'd never speak again. The knock this time was slow, not angry, just heavy. A weight with knuckles. He didn't answer right away. She was by the heart, baby on her chest, swaying in her hips as she hummed something too quiet to catch. He stood by the door. Who is it? He called. You know. The voice didn't rise. She stopped humming. Hold the baby tighter. He opened the door halfway. The sheriff stood with his thumbs tucked into the strap of his coat, hat low, boots soaked. His belt looked heavier than usual, not from rain. Morning, the sheriff said. You got business? The blacksmith asked. Always. The sheriff's eyes slid past him, into the room. Something wrong? The blacksmith added. Could be. The sheriff sniffed. Depends who's back. He didn't move, just widened the door enough to block the view. She's inside? What's it to you? She crossed county lines. You know that ain't just a walk. She's not staying. Then why's the fire lit? The blacksmith stepped outside, pulling the door closed behind him. Rain had stopped, but the ground sucked underfoot. Are you coming to arrest someone? He asked. Depends what she's carrying. A child. And who's it belong to? The blacksmith said nothing. The sheriff nodded. That's what I figured. You got something to say? Say it. She left under bad papers, said she'd stay gone. She came back. You help her cross? No. She rode? Walked. The sheriff looked out across the trees like they'd answer for her. She owes debts. She's got a baby. Babies don't clear debt. She ain't asking for money. She's breathing. That's enough. The blacksmith stepped closer. You come here to flex law or gossip? The sheriff leaned forward, face tightening. You forget who signed your forge license. I forged your boy's plow. That license was earned. Then earn it again. Tell me why she's here. She ain't done a thing. She's done enough. He folded his arms. What did she do? She spoke. Is that illegal now? She opened old wounds. Yours? Town's. The sheriff took a step back. There's land in her name. No, there ain't. There is. And there's questions about where she kept herself. She's not a criminal. She's in trouble. Inside, the baby started crying. The sheriff's head turned. That him? None of your business. Looks like your business. Looks can lie. Yours don't. The blacksmith didn't answer. You want to keep that roof? The sheriff asked. I built it. You built it after her name got burned. I built it 'cause it was mine to build. The sheriff glanced at the door. She says who the father is? No. You ask. I ain't the law. You sure as hell ain't the priest. The blacksmith stiffened. She's naming names, the sheriff said. Sooner or later, one of 'em will be yours. She hasn't said a word. Sometimes silence speaks louder. The blacksmith turned to go back inside. The sheriff grabbed his arm. You think you're the only man she ever made promises to? She never promised me a thing. Then why are you flinching? He yanked his arm free. Why do you care so damn much? The sheriff's voice dropped. Because people remember. What people? People whose boys never came back from that same road she just walked. Is that her fault? They think so. Well, I don't. The sheriff stepped forward. You gonna claim the child? He didn't speak. That's what I thought. I didn't say no. You didn't say yes. The blacksmith stepped back toward the door. You done? Number, I'm just starting. Do you need a warrant? I don't need one if the town talks loud enough. She's not property. She's a ledger with legs. She's holding a baby. The sheriff stared at him for a long moment, then pulled something from his coat pocket, a folded page, weather-worn. He handed it over. What's this? Land claim. In her name. Unresolved. She said nothing about that. Of course she didn't. Does she want it back? Don't know. But if she does, you'll be the last to know, and the first to bleed. The blacksmith looked at the paper. Is this dated? It's been waiting. Since she left. Since before. He folded the paper and tucked it into his shirt. The sheriff stepped back, adjusted his coat. You want advice? He said. No. Give her 3 days. Then send her packing. She's not an animal. She's worse. He turned and walked toward his horse, mounted slowly. I looked down. You still got the hammer? I still got 2. Then use 1 to end this. He rode off. The blacksmith opened the door. She was standing near the hearth again, baby pressed tight to her chest, face unreadable. He's here for me? Yes. What did he want? You. She nodded like she'd expected it. What did he say? Said you owe land. Said you're a wound. She rocked slightly. You believe him? I don't know. Did he ask about the baby? He asked who the father was. She didn't speak. He stepped closer. You want the land? She met his eyes. You think that's why I came? I don't know why you came. Then ask. I'm asking. She rocked the baby again. I came, she said, because he needed a name. The baby let out a breath, soft and full of sleep. He looked at them both. Then tell me what it is. She stared. You name him, she said, if you're not afraid to hold him. He didn't answer, just stood there as the paper against his chest grew heavy. She waited until the sheriff's horse was nothing but dust, then walked over to the hearth and crouched low. He watched from the table, arms crossed, boots wet from outside. The baby was asleep in the basket by the wall, breath shallow and steady. You don't have to do that, he said. You weren't going to, she replied. I had it going this morning. It's dead now. I didn't ask you to stay. You didn't tell me to leave. She placed a few logs in like she still remembered where he kept the dry ones, pulled flint from the mantel and struck. Sparks snapped. She blew slowly, carefully, and the flame caught like it had missed her. He stood. You think lighting a fire makes this yours again? No, she said. Just make it warm again. He leaned against the wall. You always had to have the last word. You always left too many unsaid. The fire popped once, flame licking high and orange. She stood slowly and faced him. You keep that land deed? He nodded. It's tucked in my shirt. You read it? Just the edges. Then you already know. He stepped forward, jaw tight. What I know is you signed it over before you left. Now it's back. I never signed anything. Your uncle did. Same name. Not the same person. He looked at the fire, then back at her. You come for the land or the boy? I came to return both. Is that so? You can keep whichever one doesn't make you cry. He let the words hang, then walked past her toward the hearth, picked up the poker, stirred the logs, sparks rising like old grudges. You always talked in riddles. You never listened straight. He pointed the poker at her. Don't act like you didn't break something. I broke nothing. You broke me. You were cracked long before I touched you. The baby shifted. She looked over, softened, then turned back to him. You still sleep with the window open? She asked. No. Why? Too many dreams. I told you they were just memories. They felt like ghosts. She stepped closer. They were. He didn't move. You really walked all that way? She nodded. Didn't want anyone to follow. You think he'll remember it? Doesn't matter. I will. He looked down. I used to love you. I know. I just couldn't. Hold on. He nodded. She stepped even closer, their boots almost touching now. But you'll hold him now, she said. He swallowed. I don't know how. Then learn. You think it's easy? Number, I think it's necessary. The fire crackled behind her, casting her in light, in warmth that didn't reach him. You're cruel, he said. You were colder. You left. You let me. He turned away, jaw clenched, eyes wet but hidden in shadow. I hated you for a long time, he said. Me too. He laughed once, bitter. You hated yourself? No, she said. I hated you too. The baby cried. She walked over, lifted him gently, rocked with a quiet rhythm. The sound filled the room again, not just the baby, but the creak of her boots, the whisper of cloth. He sat down. I thought about building a crib. You didn't? Didn't have a reason. She looked down at the baby. You do now. He ran a hand through his hair, fingers shaking. You think you can just show up and we pick up where it broke? No, she said. I think we live with it broken. That's no way to raise a child. It's the only honest way. He leaned forward, elbows on knees. You told me once you'd name our first after your father. She nodded. That was before I knew better. He wasn't a bad man. He hit your mother. He looked up. You don't forgive easily. You don't change easily. Silence again, the kind that says everything they can't. She walked over, placed the baby in his arms before he could protest. He stiffened. What if I drop him? Then I'll kill you. He smiled, barely. She sat beside him on the floor, close enough to feel the heat from both baby and fire. He's light, he said. He won't stay that way. What's his name? She didn't speak. He looked down at the baby, then back at her. I'm not thinking about Elias. She shook her head. No. Not Abram. Hell no. He rocked the baby once, just slightly. He looks like someone who knows things, he said. He looks like someone who'll forgive what we won't. That scares me. Then it's the right name. He looked again. How about Jonah? She tilted her head. Why? 'Cause he cried out and still got swallowed. She smiled. Jonah. He nodded. They sat in the warmth, neither moving. Are you staying tonight? He asked. She looked at the fire. I lit it. You always were the one who kept things burning. Until I wasn't. He looked at her. Really looked. Don't go out again. I won't, she said, unless you try to. He held Jonah a little tighter. Not perfect, not sure. But he held on. She laid her head on his shoulder. Nothing said, nothing needed. Outside, the air stayed still. No horses, no knocks, just fire, steady and warm. The baby wouldn't settle. Not with fire, not with arms, not with milk. He fussed, twisted, cried in short, sharp pulses that cut through the room like splinters. She rocked him in the old chair by the hearth, its legs creaking on every pass. He sat on the floor, back against the table, arms crossed, not close enough to touch, not far enough to pretend it wasn't happening. She didn't raise her voice, just moved slow, rhythm steady, her whisper barely louder than the crackle of dying logs. I gave birth in a barn, she said. It's the middle of winter, no fire, just hay and two strangers who didn't speak. He didn't look at her. One of them had no teeth. The other kept singing to the walls. Jonah wailed again. She hushed him, pressed her lips to his temple. I thought he was dead when he came out. Didn't cry, just stared. He swallowed, still not looking. I begged someone to take him, just for a day, so I could sleep. No one would. The baby's cries slowed, then picked up again, louder. I had nothing but a blanket and a spoon. I fed him water with it. He lived. The chair kept rocking. Some nights I didn't want him to. Some mornings I did. He shifted, but still faced the opposite wall. You think you broke first, she said, but I was shattering every day. The baby calmed a little. She leaned into the motion, deeper now, slower. I stayed in houses that smelled like blood. Men offered food in exchange for silence. He turned his head a fraction. I stayed silent. He stood suddenly. I walked to the window. It opened a crack. The wind was cold. You left without a word, he said. You gave me no words worth staying for. You had the bed. I didn't have you. He leaned against the sill. I didn't know how to be soft. I didn't ask you to. Yes, you did. The chair rocked. I asked you to see me, she said. That's not the same. I saw you, he whispered. Then why did I feel invisible? Jonah let out a sigh, small and gurgled. His face finally slackened, his fists unclenched. She slowed the rocking. I lied a lot, she said, to keep breathing, to make it through border towns and barns and borrowed beds. He turned from the window. What lies? I said his father died. His mouth tightened. I said I was married. I said I was widowed. I said I was alone. He stepped forward. You said all those? Depending on who asked. What do you say now? She looked down at Jonah. Now I say nothing. The fire had burned low. Shadows moved differently now, longer, deeper. The rocking chair creaked louder in the quiet. I never stopped loving you, he said. She didn't answer. I just didn't know what love meant. You thought it meant staying quiet. I thought it meant working hard. You thought it meant not needing me. I thought it meant protecting you. From what? From me. She stood slowly, cradling Jonah against her shoulder. He stayed asleep, breathing against her. Collarbone. You weren't the danger, she said. I was cold. You were afraid. I still am. She walked toward the kitchen, slow, steady. He followed. You still love me? She didn't stop walking. That's not the question. Then what is? Do you love him? He stopped. I'm trying. That's not enough. That's all I have. She turned at the table, stared at him. He needs more. He walked over, reached out. She handed Jonah to him. He held the boy close, awkward, clumsy. He's so small, he whispered. You keep saying that. He nodded. Feels important. They stood in silence. She pulled out a chair, sat slowly. I watched them both. You should fix that window latch, she said. Cold comes through it. I will. And the floorboard by the crib still squeaks. Yeah. And the cellar still floods. Worse now. Still got the same nightmares. He met her eyes. Yeah. She leaned forward, elbows on knees. You still blame me for leaving? He didn't answer. Good, she said, because I blame you for staying the same. The chair that rocked alone was still. The fire went down to embers. Jonah shifted in his arms, slept on. What now? He asked. You learned to hold him longer than you hold your guilt. He nodded. And what about you? He asked. She stood again. I already held both. He followed her back to the hearth, sat in the rocker, let Jonah rest against his chest. She sat beside him on the floor. Don't let him cry alone, she said. I won't. Don't raise your voice. I won't. Don't let the fire die at night. I won't. She looked up at him. Don't forget what I told you, she said. I remember everything. The chair creaked again, slowly now, steady, together. The shadows didn't look like ghosts anymore, just shapes from the past, learning how to sit still. The forge hissed when he dropped the iron into the quench. Midnight air curled through the open doors, thick with coal smoke and silence. He wiped his face with a rag, hands blackened, arms tight from the swing. She leaned in the doorway, arms crossed, baby asleep against her chest. You always come out here when you're afraid, she said. I'm not afraid. You're hammering lies. He lifted the tongs again, pulled out a glowing blade, set it on the anvil. You never asked where the money went, he said. I knew where it went. You think I drank it? Number, I think you buried it. He raised the hammer and struck once. The sound split the night. You think I stole from you? I think you stole from yourself. He struck again. Sparks flew, lit her face like a flash of old memory. You remember when I bought this forge? He asked. You sold the horse. I sold the land behind the... Well, she stepped in farther, just past the threshold. That land was mine. You never used it. It wasn't yours to touch. He struck again. The rhythm was off now. I worked to keep us fed. You worked to feed your own name. He didn't stop. Hammer came down again. You left before I ever touched that land, he said. You touched it the day I bled on it. He froze. What are you talking about? I was pregnant the first time, lost it on that field. You never asked. He stepped back from the anvil, chest rising fast. You never told me. You never saw me. The forge glowed. The blade sat half-shaped, half-honest. He sat down on the low stool near the bellows. I didn't know, he said. You didn't want to. I thought you were just tired. I was carrying your child. He looked down. You remember what you said that night? She asked. No. You said I was lazy, that the house was cold 'cause I couldn't be bothered to light the fire. He pressed his hand to his mouth. I don't remember saying that. But you did. He stood again. I walked to the water barrel, dipped the blade in. Steam rose like breath from a buried thing. Is that why you left? He asked. Number, I left because I stopped hoping you'd ever ask. The baby stirred but didn't wake. You think I don't carry that, he said. You don't act like it. I've been alone every day since. You had your forge. Steel doesn't speak. You didn't want anything that could. He walked past the anvil, leaned against the wall. And the boy. He knows what you've carried? He will. You gonna tell him I broke you? Number, I'll tell him you broke yourself. He turned back to the fire, pumped the bellows once. The flames rose, angry. I thought you came back to punish me. I came back to return him. And then I stayed to see if you were still hammering lies. He looked at her. And? He asked. You are. He walked to the anvil, picked up the blade. I looked at it, half-shaped, jagged, bent from uneven strikes. Do you ever think I didn't know how to be a man? He asked. No, she said. I knew. He nodded. What you don't know is I never got taught. That's not a reason. It's a scar. It's not his. He placed the blade down. I walked to the doorway, faced her close now, just inches between. You say I stole your land, he said. You stole our name. You say I buried money. You buried chances. You say I broke you. You bent me till I snapped. The forge flickered behind them, shadows tall on the walls. Are you ever gonna forgive me, he asked. I don't know yet. I forgave you the second you walked back in. That's because you're tired. Number, it's because I'm still yours. She looked away. The baby whimpered. She held him close, swayed slightly. He looked down at the child. Does he cry like I did? She shook her head. Number, he cries like I did. He stepped aside, letting her into the forge fully. Why'd you bring him to me? He asked. Because he asked for you. He doesn't even speak. Neither did I. The hammer sat still. The blade cooled. The air thick with the ghosts of choices that never left the room. She walked to the anvil. I looked at the blade, ran a finger near it, never touching. This was going to be something, she said. Was. You'll finish it. I don't know. You better. He watched her leave, baby against her chest, firelight casting long behind her. When the door shut, he turned to the blade, picked up the hammer, struck once, and the sound didn't echo. It sank. The knock came hard this time, not like the first. This one didn't wait. He was at the forge, hands blackened with coal dust, mid-swing when it came. She opened the cabin door before he could get there. The sheriff pushed past her like it was still his house. You don't get to walk in here, she snapped. I get to walk wherever there's a lie breathing. The baby stirred in the crib near the hearth. The sheriff looked at it once, then turned toward the blacksmith coming through the rear door. You hammering steel again? I was. The sheriff pulled something from his coat pocket. A small cloth, folded square. He unwrapped it slowly, then dropped it flat on the table. His badge, still damp with sweat or rain, no one could tell. Are you walking away from the job? The blacksmith asked. Number, I'm laying it down long enough to talk like a man. We're not the same kind. The sheriff looked at the woman. That's your baby. You know damn well he is. I know who he isn't. You gonna drag that lie through a child? I'm dragging it through you. She stepped closer, shoulders back. Law doesn't raise children. The sheriff laughed, low and bitter. Law protects what they become. Number law protects whoever's holding the pen. He looked to the blacksmith. She twisted you up already? She's here. She shouldn't be. She is. You want to explain that to the county judge? Or the boy when he grows up with your name and not your blood? The blacksmith stepped forward, voice taut. You don't know a damn thing. I know you, Elias, better than you think. You don't know what I've buried. I know what she left. The woman's voice cut sharp. Don't speak for what you watched and never stopped. I stopped plenty, he said. Like what? The fire he nearly died in? The hands that fed him spoiled milk? You didn't stop a damn thing. The sheriff turned to the table, pressed a hand flat beside the badge. That boy doesn't belong here. He doesn't belong to you. He belongs to no one, she said. He's not land. He's not cattle. He's not blood. He's breathing. That's enough. You trying to rewrite who he is. I'm writing what he'll never forget." The blacksmith grabbed the back of a chair, grip white-knuckled. "You think I wanted this," he said. "I think you let it happen," she answered. "I worked. You hid. I bled for her. You bled for yourself." He threw the chair. It cracked against the wall, splinters raining to the floor. The baby woke, crying hard. She didn't flinch. "I gave you everything," he yelled. "You gave me silence. I built this with my hands. You built it after you broke us." He stepped close. "You ruined me." She didn't blink. "You ruined yourself." His jaw tightened, shoulders pulled high. She walked past him, picked up the baby from the crib, whispering soft while his fists clenched air. The sheriff stepped between them. "This ends today." "No," she said. "This begins today." He looked to the blacksmith. "You gonna let her rewrite your life?" "I never wrote it right in the first place." "You claim that, boy. You're stuck with her." "I'm already stuck with myself." The sheriff stared a long time, then turned to the table, picked up the badge. "You think I'll forget this?" he said. "I hope you do." The blacksmith said, "I hope you forget what a child's cry sounds like, 'cause you don't deserve to hear it." The sheriff paused, then pocketed the badge. "You'll regret this." "Maybe." The woman bounced Jonah gently. "We already regret you." The sheriff backed toward the door, never turning his back. He opened it without a word, stepped out, and was gone. The blacksmith stared at the empty doorway, hands still shaking. She paced slowly, calming Jonah, her voice low. "You okay?" He didn't answer. "Did you mean it?" He sat down, arms limp, staring at the floor. "Every word." "You ready now?" He nodded once. "I think I always was. I just didn't know how to say yes. Start with his name." He breathed deep. "Jonah." "Say it louder." "Jonah." She sat beside him on the floor. "You still think I ruined you?" she asked. "No." "Do you hate me?" "I hate what I let happen." "You gonna break again?" "I can't afford to." She leaned into him, Jonah between them. "I want to believe you," she whispered, "then stay close enough to hear when I slip." The baby calmed, eyes fluttering shut again. She looked to the hearth. Fire's dying. He stood, walked to the logs, and laid two across the embers. Flame jumped fast. He turned to her. "You still love me?" She didn't answer. He nodded. "That's fair." She looked at the table where the badge had been, the empty space it left. "What now?" he asked. "You fill that space." "With what?" "With something the law never gave us." He watched her stand, watched her carry Jonah toward the bedroom. He stayed by the fire. No badge, no sheriff, no noise but the soft click of wood shifting, flame catching, and the sound of a child finally falling into full sleep. She woke him before dawn. Not with noise, not with light, just her voice by the bed, sharp and quiet. "Get up." He blinked, half lost in sleep. "What time is it?" "Time to answer something you left rotting." He sat up, rubbed his face. "What now?" "Put your boots on." He didn't argue. They didn't speak as they stepped outside. Jonah was asleep in the crib. The fire banked low. Cold air clung to the ground, fog curling around the shed and fence posts like something that didn't want to be seen. She walked ahead of him, arms crossed. No coat, no hesitation. He followed slowly until he realized where she was headed. "No," he said. She kept walking. "You don't get to drag me out here." She stopped by the old well, where weeds grew high and the rope pulley leaned with age. "I'm not dragging," she said. "You're walking." He stopped a few paces short. "What's this for?" "You made a promise here." "That was years ago." "Time doesn't erase echoes." He stepped forward. The well stood low and wide, its stones dark with moss and memory. "You really brought me here for this?" "You remember what you said." "I said a lot." "You said you'd never lie to me." He looked down into the circle of stone. "I meant it." "Then why did it break?" "I changed." "No," she said, "you hid." "I tried." "Trying ain't the truth." He took another step, staring down into the dark. The water didn't shine, just looked still, bottomless. "You think it remembers?" he asked. "I know it does." He swallowed. "Have you ever come back here?" "Often." He looked at her. "I came back every time I thought about forgiving you," she said. He crouched beside the rim, fingers brushing the edge of stone, cold. Damp. Familiar. I was scared. So was I. I didn't know how to be yours. You didn't even try to be mine. You tried to own me. He looked up at her. That's not fair. You sold the land behind this well. You promised it'd be ours. I needed money. You needed to be more than what you were. I needed to survive. She stepped closer. You needed to win. He looked back into the water. I stood here, he said. Swore I'd never touch another woman. You didn't, she said. But you let everything else touch us. He took a rock from the edge, tossed it in. The splash was faint, swallowed quickly. You want me to swear again? He asked. No. Then why bring me here? Because you need to hear what it sounds like when a lie echoes back. He breathed slowly, still crouched. I never stopped loving you. She didn't move. That doesn't mean anything. It should. Not if it didn't save us. He stood, fists tight. I thought I was doing the right thing. You weren't. I worked. I built it. I didn't cheat. I didn't hit. I stayed. You stayed quiet. That's not a crime. It is when I screamed and you called it noise. He turned from the well. I can't go back. I didn't ask you to. Then what do you want? Truth? He nodded. All right. She waited. I lied. She blinked. I sold the land before you left, not after. I sold it while you were bleeding on the floor. She exhaled, slow. Why? I thought you'd forgive me if I came back rich. Did you? No. Then why hide it? Because you were already halfway gone. She stepped to the well, ran her fingers along the stone. And the baby. I didn't think he was mine. You still don't. I do now. Say it. I believe he's mine. Say it again. I believe he's mine. He walked to the other side of the well so they faced each other across the mouth. I believed it the moment I saw him look at me and not cry. Her eyes softened. He has your sleep face. He smiled, small. Why did you keep him alive? Number, I kept him alive because I couldn't carry another grave. He looked down again. Do you think this is good? No, she said. But it remembers. He looked at her. Then let it hear something new. He placed both hands on the stone, leaned over, voice low but firm. I swear I will raise Jonah without silence. I swear I will never sell what isn't mine. I swear I will never walk away from what I've already broken. His voice shook on the last word. He didn't try to hide it. The well didn't echo back. It only held the words. She stepped back. That's enough. He turned from it slowly. You believe me? I believe you're trying. They walked back without touching. The grass whispered underfoot. Morning cracked at the horizon, light just starting to break. At the door, he paused. I'll dig the post hole deeper next time, he said. She looked at him, confused. The rope kept slipping, he added. Back then. She nodded. You still remember how it sounded when the bucket hit water? Yeah, she said, but this time it didn't echo. Does that mean something? It means you hit the bottom. He opened the door, held it for her. She stepped in first, just as Jonah started crying. The scream cut through the boards like something tearing loose from bone. She sat up, first, hair clinging to her neck. He groaned, turned to the wall. The baby cried again, louder, shriller, full of something neither of them could name. She swung her legs off the bed, stood, bare feet hitting cold wood. You hear that? She asked. I hear it. Then move. He stayed still. The baby didn't. She crossed the room, pulled Jonah from the crib. He writhed in her arms, red-faced and furious. He's burning, she whispered. He sat up slowly. Teething. Not like this. Milk? Not working. He got up, stepped into his boots, shirt loose, eyes heavy. She paced with Jonah, bouncing gently. I told you not to give him the mash last night. I didn't. You did. I watched you do it. Then why is he screaming like that? You think this is me? You fed him. You built the fire too hot. The room's dry. You're reaching. You're avoiding it. He walked over. Let me see him. She held Jonah tighter. Not until you're calm. I am calm. You're stiff as fence wire. The baby shrieked again. She winced. Just give him to me, he said. Say please. Please. She handed Jonah over slowly. He took the boy like he'd learned something since last time, held him against his chest, rocked in place. Jonah didn't stop crying. He looked down, unsure. He doesn't like me, he muttered. That's not it. Feels like it. You're tense. I'm trying. Try quieter. He turned toward the hearth. The fire had gone down, only faint orange showing. We need water, she said. Bucket's dry. I'll go. No, he said. I will. You sure? He nodded, then hesitated. He might scream again. I'll hear him. He walked to the door, opened it, and stopped. Outside, down by the tree line, a shadow stood. Still, hat low, arms crossed. The sheriff. He stepped back inside. I closed the door slowly. Her voice sharpened. What? He's out there. She turned. He knocked? No. She crossed to the window, pulled the curtain back just an inch, saw the figure, still as a stump, watching. He wants to rattle us, she said. He's doing a good job. Jonah cried again, harder. The sound bounced off the walls. He turned back toward the crib. I can't do this. You're doing it. I don't know what he wants. He wants to be held. I am. He wants you to mean it. He looked down. You think I don't? I think you doubt it. Jonah wailed again. The sound climbed until it became something primal. Please, she whispered. Just hold him without fear. He closed his eyes, took a breath. I opened them again. Jonah squirmed, then paused. He shifted the boy up, cradled his head better. Hold him tighter, firmer, not desperate, not scared. The baby whimpered, then stilled. They both stood there, frozen. See, she whispered, I don't know what I did. You stayed. Outside, the wind picked up. The sheriff hadn't moved. You think he'll come in? He asked. Not tonight. How do you know? Because we're not breaking. He rocked Jonah slowly, his own heartbeat finally slowing to match. I used to think silence meant peace, he said. It just means someone's losing alone. He looked at her. You? For a long time. Me too. She crossed to him, rested her hand on Jonah's back, then on his. You're steady, she said. He nodded. For now. Jonah let out a long breath, almost a sigh. They stood in the firelight, the walls breathing with shadow. Outside, the sheriff turned, walked back into the dark without a sound. The sun rose slowly, pale and thin behind the hills. He was already in the forge, shirt off, arms streaked with soot, sleeves tied to the waist of his pants. The baby was strapped high to his chest in a cloth sling, small face pressed against bare skin, cheek damp with sleep. She stood in the doorway, silent. The hammer came down. Clang. Steel bent, glowing hot on the anvil. Clang. He adjusted the tongs, wiped sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. He'll know strength, he muttered. She didn't speak. Another strike. Clang. She stepped closer, the firelight licking at her face. You're insane, she said. He smiled, didn't look at her. Not yet. You'll burn him. He's fine. He's asleep. Exactly. Clang. The baby shifted but didn't wake, just curled deeper into his father's chest like he belonged there. She folded her arms. That sling's too loose. It's tight enough. You'd know that if you'd used it before. I'm using it now. Clang. Are you trying to prove something? Not trying. Then what? Forging something better. She walked over, voice low. And what if he screams again? Then he'll learn the rhythm of noise. Clang. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. I didn't say it wouldn't. She looked down at the blade in progress. Long, heavy, brutal. That for cutting or scaring? She asked. That's for remembering. Clang. You're naming it? He nodded. Memory. Clang. The door creaked behind them. Boots stepped into the forge. Neither turned. The sheriff's voice cut to the room. Child on your chest. Hammer in your hand. Ain't that poetic? He turned now slow. The baby stayed still. You come to talk or to talk? The blacksmith asked. The sheriff walked in, that low. Just came to see what shape guilt takes. She stepped between them. Leave. I asked him a question. He's working. Then he can work while I watch. He looked past her, at the blade. That for me? No, the blacksmith said. That's for what comes after you. Bold, considering your house ain't legal. Neither's your badge. Half the time. The sheriff stepped close, real close, inches from the baby's tiny back. Are you threatening me with a child? I'm standing still. She moved between them again. He told you to leave. You still think this ends with you happy? I think it ends with you smaller than you thought you were. The sheriff leaned in. That baby screams again. I might come with law in one hand and rope in the other. You touch him, the blacksmith said, and I bury that hand. Silence. The sheriff's eyes narrowed. You always were a loud coward. Then stay close, the blacksmith said. See how quiet I can get. She didn't blink. We're not afraid of you anymore. The sheriff stepped back once, then again. You'll regret this, he said. Already did, she replied. He looked at the child one last time, then turned and walked out. The door didn't slam, just clicked. She turned to him, breath shaking. You always talk like that when someone's about to kill you? I do now. The baby stirred, woke, didn't cry. He looked down, smiled. He's learning. She looked at the blade again. Memory, huh? Yeah. You gonna hang it or use it? Depends what tries to walk in next. She stepped closer. You did good. Only took everything falling apart. That's how iron bends. He looked at her. You gonna stay in the forge or tell me what I'm doing wrong? You're holding him too high. He breathes better here. He sweats more here. He grinned. That's fine. She reached forward, tightened the sling. He didn't move. They stood close, almost touching, with firelight licking their edges. The baby blinked, looking between them, then yawned. Clang. The forge didn't just shape steel anymore, it shaped something else, something neither of them could name, but both could feel. The sheriff came just past noon. No warning this time, no knock, just the creak of boots and the push of a door that no longer feared him. She was by the hearth, feeding Jonah from a bottle. The blacksmith stood at the sink, cleaning soot from his arms. You, the sheriff barked, pointing to her. Outside, now. She didn't move. He stepped farther in. I'm not asking. She kept the bottle steady. Then don't speak. The sheriff's voice dropped. This ain't your home. No, she said. It's mine now. You think that baby rewrites the past? I think he burns the page. The sheriff looked to the blacksmith. Are you letting her talk for you now? She's better at it. That baby's not yours. Doesn't matter. It matters to the court. There's no court here, she said. Not yet. He stepped closer. You come with me now. This ends quietly. She stood, holding Jonah tight against her chest. I'm not going anywhere. You don't get to say that. I just did. The sheriff looked at the blacksmith. You gonna stop me? He dried his hands, tossed the towel on the table. I'm gonna stand where she stands. You really want to throw your life in the fire for her? I already did. Then you're a fool. Then I'm a father. The sheriff's hand moved to the edge of his coat. She didn't blink. Have you ever seen a man hanged for harboring a fugitive? He asked. Have you ever seen a man buried for threatening a child? She shot back. He turned, slowly, face tight. You think this means something? He said. This little show of love, of loyalty. It means he wakes up with someone who won't leave, she said. It means he learns how to hold steel before lies. The blacksmith stepped beside her, close, solid. We're not running, he said. You think you're brave? No, she said. Just finished being afraid. The sheriff spat on the floor. Then you'll both burn. She stepped forward. We already did. You're lighting new fires now. He nodded. Good. Heat melts the weak things. The sheriff stared, for once, quiet. Then, this town will turn on you. Let them, the blacksmith said. We already turned on ourselves long enough. The sheriff looked between them, eyes narrow. Last warning. She tightened her grip on Jonah. We don't take warnings anymore. You'll regret that. You said that last time, she said. But now you're the only one trembling. He stepped back, one foot, then another. His shadow shrank in the doorway. The blacksmith didn't move. She didn't breathe. Finally, the sheriff turned and left. The door swung closed behind him. Silence. She looked at the blacksmith. You meant that? Every word. You sure? Even if I lied again. She smiled. Just a flicker. Jonah stirred, nestled deeper against her chest. The fire popped once behind them. And this time, no one reached for the poker. The baby finally slept. Head turned to the side, mouth slack, fingers curled against the blanket, like he was holding on to something only he could see. The fire was out. She didn't light it again. She sat in the rocker, slow and steady, arms wrapped around her ribs like they ached from something invisible. He stood by the forge, hands on the edge of the cold anvil, spine bent, eyes fixed on nothing. The wind slipped under the door but didn't bring trouble with it. Just quiet, just air. "You think he'll remember this place?" she asked. He didn't look over. "If he does, I hope it's not for fighting." "He won't." He let out a slow breath. "You sure?" "No." He ran a hand over the surface of the anvil, black and still. "I thought I needed heat to shape things." "You did." "I thought fire made me something." "It just lit what was already there." The rocker creaked. Jonah shifted once, then settled again. "She'll come back, you know," he said. "The sheriff?" "She's wearing his skin now." She rocked slower. "Let her. I'm not afraid of her either." He looked at her then. Really looked. "You used to be." "I used to be afraid of everything." "And now?" She met his eyes. "Now I'm just tired." He nodded. "Same." The room smelled like iron and milk, like dirt tracked in from boots, like wood left too long in smoke. He stepped away from the anvil, crossed the room, sat on the floor beside the chair. His knees popped. His back cracked. She didn't say anything. He leaned his head back against her leg. She didn't move. "Remember the day we built the coop?" he asked. "You kept dropping the nails. You kept laughing." "I didn't want to." He smiled. "I miss her. She's still here. She doesn't laugh the same. She doesn't trust you." He nodded. "I wouldn't either." Silence again. Not heavy, not sharp, just there. "You still think about leaving?" she asked. "Every time I look at that road." "Still want to?" He shook his head. "Every time I look at him, I stay." She reached down, ran her fingers through his hair. It was greasy, tangled. He didn't pull away. "I used to think you'd leave before I did," she said. "I did. Not with your body. I left you in the same room I kissed you in." He reached for her hand, held it loose. She didn't pull away. "I hated you," she said softly. "I know. I blamed you. You had every reason. I blamed myself more." He looked up at her. "Don't. I'm not anymore." They sat that way for a long time. The wind settled. The baby breathed softly. The forge stayed cold. "I didn't want to bring him here," she said. "I know. I didn't want him to carry your name." He swallowed. "But he already had your silence," she said. He didn't answer. She looked down at him. "He's yours." He breathed slowly. "Even if I lied again." She nodded. "And if I fail again." "You will." He nodded again. "Then I'll stay for that too." The rocker creaked. His head stayed in her lap. Her hand rested on his shoulder. The baby stirred, but didn't wake. Outside, the wind stopped. The world didn't. The anvil stayed cold. But the boy dreamed on.